I'm Lucy and Doshka's joining me as well. We're from Tinderbox. We're a youth arts collective of musicians, youth workers and artists. And we run a range of activities and events like our alternative Tinderbox orchestra, youth music hubs, workshops and hospital visits. And we have our digital arts branch, which we call the Tinderbox Lab, where we run projects for both emerging adult artists and children and young people. And we thought that today we'd tell you a bit about some of the youth projects that we have run out of our lab and digital arts programme. And I just wanted to also say that we're always up for collaborations as well. So if anything comes up today or there's any ideas sparked, or you just like more information about something, please just give us a shout at any time or stop us if you want to ask a question in the talk. So to start, there are a few digital arts areas that we have explored before within our lab youth work. So I just thought I'd run through those. We, first of all, have run various opportunities around introducing basic electronics. We used to have a lab studio in-person space, which we moved out of at the start of the pandemic, but we used to organise a few one-off workshops there for young people where they could basically learn about building circuits. For example, we had this kind of light up lamp little workshop that we used to do. And then from that, over 2020, we designed and delivered our first series of MakerBox kits as well, which were electronic crafty kits where the kids could design and build their own circuits within those as well. And it came with all the materials that you needed. And we'll tell you a bit more about all of that shortly. And then over the lockdown period, we started to move online. And from that, we started to do a bit more of game design at the lab. Within that, we've run various courses and clubs for young people, which we'll also tell you a bit more about shortly. And as well as that, we've recently been involved over the last year or so in some collaborations with our digital arts work as well. One in particular was with the National Galleries, where we built a 2D game from artwork that was made by the young people that they were working with. So we'll go into a bit more detail about all of these projects that we're sharing with you today. So one of those I mentioned was the game design clubs and courses. One of these included a project that we ran at Howden Hall, which is a secure unit based in Edinburgh. We got together with small groups or sometimes one-on-one lessons and used a laptop and a game design software called Construct 3. And from that, we basically built a platformer game together where each young person could design their own level and they would learn how to put this together in a digital game tool or a game engine. Games are made up of some key things, some kind of sets of rules called mechanics. Obviously, there's a lot of artwork and sound involved, level design, and the young people made decisions about all of this. They would decide what the player motivation would be, so what the point of their level is, what you're trying to do, what the challenge would be, what would make that level tricky. They'd fill it with artwork and sound. And things like what the controls should be as well. So there was a lot of collaboration involved and it sparked a lot of creativity. I can actually show you some of the games very quickly. There might be some sound in this. Hopefully it's not too loud, but if it is or it's too quiet, just let me know. But this is an example of one of the games that we made at Howden Hall. It's called Games by Howden Hall. And just takes a second to load. But we can select each of the levels they've made. So each of these squares represents a level they made. This is my favorite one, I think, although they're all great. Hopefully that's not too loud for you. You have to control this character a bit like the Flappy Bird game and make your way through a tricky level. I didn't get very far, I got 4. Just hop back to the presentation. But yeah, we can share some links for these as well if you want to check out more of the work that's been made by these amazing young folks. But I'll move on for now, seeing as we might be a little short on time. But yeah, that was an example of one of the game design courses and set of workshops that we delivered for another organisation where we would go into the venue and work with the young people directly. Another project we started influenced by game design has been our online games club that started summer of 2021, this year. And it's basically an online space for young people to get together and hang out and learn a bit about and make some games together. And over that first term in the summer, the group created a couple of games actually. One was a game about a monkey called Jeff, who we can see here. He's handing a penguin some sunscreen. which is part of the story. And we used a tool called Twinery to make that game, which is a text-based game design tool. So it lets you write interactive stories, a bit like a kind of choose your own adventure for anybody who read Goosebumps. That it's that kind of thing where you can, the player can make decisions about where they're going in the story. And alongside the text-based game, we also made a sister game using another tool called Bitsy, which is another great game making tool. It lets you be creative really quickly and allows you to make really tiny pixel art based game. And it's nice for poetry and stories and things like that as well, because it's got a great text function as well. And at the end of that first term, we had a lovely online sharing with participants from the group and their family, where we played through the games that were made over the course for the audience. And we also kind of gave it a theatrical twist as well, because the young people in the group played out the characters that they put in the game. So they would read out the lines as the audience made their choices. So there's basically a lot that came from using games as a medium we found for, again, giving people a chance to be creative and do something unusual and new. And currently the Games Club, we're in our second term now. We're just coming up towards the end of it, actually. We've got one session left this term, and the kids have been making a new amazing game. We are also planning to run further terms next year as well, which, if they're in person, would be open to young people from in and around Edinburgh. They might remain online, as we've been talking today, depending on how things go. But like I said, they've been making this new amazing game, and I'll let Doshka maybe tell you a bit about it. I work with Doshka on the Games Club, and she's been designing this game with the young folks too. So maybe I can show you some of it in action while Doshka lets you know a bit more about what they've been doing for it. Was that too loud before, that last video, or is the audio okay?
Yeah, a bit like a...
Okay, I'll see if I can turn it down any, but if not, I might just mute it. It might be safer.
Now that let you play
if this is any better. Is that okay volume-wise? Ah, fab. All right, Doshka, over to you.
So in autumn, we started like a second term of the Games Club. And in this term, we focused on making a collaborative game using Construct, as you can see what Lucy is playing at the moment. And participants created the artwork and assets, as well as characters and the backgrounds for the game, and designed different levels. So in a moment, we'll see coming into another level with their background. And we also started the Game Club Championship, where at the beginning of each of the sessions, we play a game where participants can earn points, and it was like a nice and fun way for them to start the session and warm up before that as well. And it's also during the sessions we recorded different sound effects and music, so all that you can hear at the moment has been created and recorded by the participants, and which has been fantastic. So it feels like every term we're adding more and more things that are possible, and we're learning from the one before and bringing the things that work.
Thanks, Doshka. Yeah, it's been really interesting to see just how, again, great a games medium has been for online working. I think when you can find the right tools to allow people to have space to collaborate and add their own artwork or sound, or music, as Doshka said. So like we had earlier with Eduardo, I think finding those right methods for working collaboratively has been at the crux of that, but games have been a great kind of inspiration to tie it all together.